Welcome to New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I'm John Burt. I can't wait for you to watch this show because we're going to have a lot of fun. And matter of fact, you remember our good guest, BartFromuth.
Nice to be back again. Thank
Bart,
you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. And he's a representative down in
Bedford.
Just Bedford, right?
Just Bedford.
You're not the floater or anything?
No, just Bedford.
Does Bedford have a floater?
We do actually. We share a float with Amherst.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think it's District 47.
And who's that rep?
That is Representative Lori Sanborn.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, Lori's a good rep.
Yeah.
So she's done well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to show a bunch of videos on the DNC convention that just happened probably a couple weeks the time this airs.
Last week, yeah. Well, yeah, by the time this airs, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a couple weeks. But first, Bart, the first video, I don't want to offend you or anything, but it may.
Okay.
If you could look at the screen up there, I want to show you where the safe space area is. So just in case, the first video.
It's very kind of you.
Yes. Well, I want to make sure anybody that comes on my show, I want them to feel safe and comfortable, just in case I say something, that offends them.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it.
You know what a kind heart I have.
I feel better already, so thank you.
Well, good. And well, let me show you the first video, and I'm sure you will, because it's somebody in your town.
It's a constituent of mine.
Yes, that was at the DNC, the
Excellent.
National Convention.
Excellent. So not one of my voters, but yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't know. You should call her and ask. I'd love
Okay.
to have you go over to her house and see. But let me play the video. Right here it is.
The Bernie or bust people, you're being ridiculous.
You gotta love Al Franken's response right there.
Well, that's it.
Oh.
Did you see his face?
I did. And God bless Sarah Silverman, one of our more famous constituents.
Yes.
She's a little confused politically, but
she
God
is.
bless her.
Yeah, yeah. And what was funny is, Buckley, not Buckley, Ray Buckley. He's theirs leader here in New Hampshire.
Yep.
Al Franken was like, oh, yeah. I don't think he knew what to do.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a tough situation. She just basically rigged the entire primary.
Yes.
Emails prove it, and then Sarah Silverman, who was last time we checked on this show, I think.
Yes.
We saw some of her very pro Bernie videos that
Yes.
she put out. Now she's telling everybody to calm down and just deal with the fact that they've been lied and cheated.
Oh yeah.
So I can understand Franken as a polished politician, not really wanting to jump on board with those comments. But
Yeah.
I love the hand pat. Like get me the heck out of here.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, she basically just threw a bunch of salt in their wound, because there's some Bernie. As I got a few videos coming up, there's some Bernie fans that are not happy.
Can you imagine if that happened to us on the Republican side? Just the
Oh.
chaos.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And the news media would be reporting it 23 hours or 24 hours a day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, they did report it a little
For a
but now it's
week.
kind of like,
yeah. Well, until Donald, went and seized the headlines again. But
oh yeah, which he's going to. Now the next video is, I think this is the one with the booing, and wait till you hear this.
Okay.
It's a good one, Bart. Yeah, and I'll start it right now. Here it is.
We have got to defeat Donald Trump. And we have got to elect Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine.
some boo birds in the audience.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
Bernie kind of reminds me of like the Ron Paul of like the Democrat Party.
Yes.
He had a really good thing going, and I have a lot of Bernie friends. Bernie Bros as they're called.
Oh yeah, I do too. Yeah.
And some of them are making the trek and with him, and some of them aren't. But I really think at his age, in terms of his kind of political future and so on and so forth, why not ride off into the sunset? You had your revolution. It was very successful.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of new voters involved. tell Hillary Clinton to go fly a kite and she can go and stick her endorsement where the sun don't shine. After what she pulled, I just think for him to do that really undermined a lot of his movement and probably is going to lead to a lot of voters maybe not making that trek over to vote for Donald Trump, but staying at home on Election Day. Because
I agree with that.
Can you imagine if I mean, I know I was a big Ron Paul guy, and you know, we always had our suspicions that Romney's folks in the RNC were doing things to make sure that we didn't win certain caucuses and stuff like that, and they heavily favored Romney. If emails had ever come out like that, basically putting it in black and white, you better believe I would be staying. I wouldn't have cast my vote for Romney. I think there's a lot of other people that wouldn't have otherwise. So,
well, in those emails, weren't there some like derogatory toward Jewish people?
Oh, I mean, like that's the funny thing is that, you know, behind closed doors, oh geez, you know, all these racial epithets and religious slurs, they fly all day long, saying, oh well, geez, if we cast him as a Jewish man, that'll fly with my Kentucky peeps or whatever the guy said. I mean. And it's just like, wow, like here you are. So Donald Trump isn't my favorite person in the entire universe, but one thing like I feel pretty confident about is that no one's ever going to have a gotcha email with Donald Trump. Because anything outlandish or offensive that comes out of his mouth or they write in paper, he'd say in front of a million person audience. So, but with Hillary, it's just like, you know, and her people, it's like this very polished, like, oh, like we have to project this, but behind the scenes. You know, they're being just as offensive as Donald is. You know, when they made the Taco Bowl comment about Latinos and
that's it.
You know, so
well, that's what the next video. Wait till you hear that. Then I'm glad you brought that up. Let's air that. Let me go find it, and it's it's the last Bernie one. Is it this one?
We need leadership in this country which will improve the lives of working families, the children, the elderly, the sick, and the poor. We need leadership which brings our people together and makes us stronger. Not leadership which insults Latinos and Mexicans, insults Muslims and women, African Americans and veterans, and seeks to divide us up. By these measures, any objective observer will conclude that based on her ideas and her leadership, Hillary Clinton must become the next president of the United States.
No. How did they drink the Kool-Aid there?
Well, I mean, again, it's, you know, first off, I disagree with the statement that like Donald has said all these terrible things about Hispanics. I mean, it's all been geared towards illegal immigrants, people coming over into this country illegally, breaking the law.
You mean he used that word illegal? I mean, you know, you're not supposed to use that word anymore.
I mean, and you know, again, he's going after a group of people that are here breaking the law that, you know, a lot of us have a legitimate issue with. Bill Clinton even made a couple famous speeches about how we need to do something about illegal immigration back in the 90s. Apparently, Hillary was on board with Donald's ideas back then. Yes. But, you know, the other problem I have too is that, you know, like, oh, well, he's calling out illegal immigrants. So that means that, like, oh, that must mean that all Mexican or Latino Americans must be offended. Well, like, isn't that like offensive to them in as much as it's saying, oh, well, if you're a Latino American, Mexican American, you must have gotten here illegally, or you must not be a real citizen. Like, that to me is a tortured way of looking at it. But no one has a problem with that, number one. And you look at the DNC emails, and they're talking about offering them taco bowls or something like that in terms of, like, again, Donald says offensive stuff, yes, in front of the camera, but, you know, they're just doing it behind the scenes, which in my opinion is more insidious. So
exactly. And the news media even reported some of it, how bad the DNC emails were.
Well, this is what I love about the primary stuff, you know, versus once we get into the general election.
Yes.
Because in the primary stuff, you know, it's Bernie bros versus the Hillary bots, right? And so in the big liberal media, you're going to have people on both sides of that coin. Yeah. You know, once it gets into the general, I can guarantee you they're going to stop, you know, reporting on all this stuff. But when it was hurting Bernie and a sect of the Democrat Party, you know, that's when it was become more relevant, because there's a section of the Democrat Party 50% of it that was very, very interested in hearing about all the corruption that was going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
You know, now that we're in the general and it's Republicans versus Democrats, we'll be hearing probably a lot less of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, well, I know there's a Democrat voter. She's 60 years old. You know, she said, you know, well, let me play the video for you, and
sure.
You'll hear it. Yeah, and I'm going to start it right now. Here it is.
The fact that Debbie Wasserman Schultz stepped down to appease us and Hillary hired her 2 split seconds later to run her campaign, it shows that Hillary's involved in all of it, as is Obama. I am going to wait to see where I think my vote will most hurt Hillary. I might even vote Trump. I've been a Democrat my whole life. I'm 60 years old, and it'll be the first time I've ever cast a vote for a Republican. But if it'll keep Hillary out of office, I'll vote Trump.
You know what, Bart? I don't think she's alone. You know, don't shoot me, voters. You know, my brother still lives in Vermont. He's the last Burt there. He loves Bernie. Now, he hates everything Bernie does, but he likes the guy.
Yeah.
You know, he hates, you know, give everything away. You know, Jim,
right.
You know, my brother says, no, you need to work for it. Well, that's not what Bernie says. Well, I know, but I still like Bernie. He's not voting for Hillary, and I know many of them.
No, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people that make that decision. There's a lot of people on the Republican side, obviously, that aren't going to vote for Trump. That gets more reported, though, obviously, I think, than the dissension in the ranks on the left. I mean, like, you know, why go through the whole process if the whole thing's just staged in a waste of 8 months of time? How much money did Bernie raise from hardworking people that probably can't afford to donate that much money?
Yeah.
Like, all wasted on a system that was never going to give them a chance. It just makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Okay, back in 2008, if this is like the popularity that Bernie had to break through and the money that he raised and the support that he had grassroots, how much total support must there have to have been for Barack Obama in 2008 to defeat the Clinton machine? I mean, Barack actually broke through, which to me is nothing short of a miracle, seeing the lengths that this woman will go to rig the system in her favor. I mean, Barack, I mean, give him all the credit in the world. I mean, he must have had twice the army that Bernie had to get through, because those super delegates, New Hampshire, Bernie destroyed her like 65 to 35.
Oh, I think it was.
And he got, what did he get? What did he get? One super delegate?
Yeah, you got half and half.
But only one super delegate.
Oh, that's right.
Only Fuller Clark went with Bernie. Shaheen and Hassan and the rest of them, they just followed their you know, presumptive commander in chief in Hillary, and you know, didn't give a thought, didn't give a hoot to what the voters wanted. And I just, again, what Barack must have been polling in their internal numbers for them to say, Hillary, even we can't fix this one for you.
Yes.
You know,
yeah, we'll give it to you next time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. You know, in 8 years or 4 years, we'll give it. You know. Because that's when she stepped down, you know, as Secretary of State. I thought she was going to run against him.
You know, I thought about it, but he was a machine that even, like, again, all the corruption in the world couldn't have stopped in terms of turning those elections against him.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a ton of corruption in that administration. There was one, it's it was on Hannity. Oh, and before I forget, I do want to thank everybody on their videos here. You know, like Fox News and the other organizations that I borrowed their videos from. But the next one has Geraldo on it, but it is on Hannity. And here's that one. This one's a pretty good one. I'll start it right now.
So do you think it's rigged, the system? I completely think it's rigged. It's been rigged since pretty much as far back as our generation can live. And remember,
this vote is rigged, and we are tired of it. We are sick of it. We want democracy. We want representative democracy. That is what we are supposed to have in this good old USA, right?
In a truly democratic society, what are the chances that two people in the same family would be at the top?
What did we all go to vote and go through the primary season for? If it was rigged, I mean, it's just like this isn't what democracy looks like.
I'm a Marine veteran, just like everybody else, and we think that this primary has been rigged. It would be different if she had won it fair and square.
So you think it was rigged in favor of Hillary Clinton?
I don't think. I saw it. It was.
Voting for Jill Stein.
I believe my eye.
Take it from him. He won.
And if he's not the nominee, we are all voting for Jill Stein. And it will be on the Democratic Party.
Shine with Stein, man.
Jill not Hill.
Jill not Hill. No more Hillary. It's collusion. It's racketeering. It's the Clinton Foundation. Follow the money. We're done. We're done.
I love it. I love it. I do. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the last 8 years, the Democrats, from top to bottom have been really in sync.
Yes.
And it's like anything bad they hear about their party, again, just my own observations. Obviously, it doesn't go for every Democrat, but it just seemed like anything bad that was happening within their party or their kind of structure, they're just kind of blind to. It's just far right rage type of thing. And it's just nice to see them open their eyes and say, wait a minute, Hillary does suck. She is a terrible person.
Yeah.
And she went out of her way with Wasserman Schultz and the rest of these bigwigs to go ahead and try to push this election in her favor. And get angry about it. Get mad. When
Schultz stepped down, how quick did it take for Hillary to hire?
5 seconds. Which is it's almost a situation where the last 8 years they could do nothing wrong to alienate their base.
Yes.
Even for my friends that are anti-war as it comes, they still couldn't find fault with the Obama administration, which drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And that now you see the $400 million kiss on the cheek we gave the Iranians the other day. Anyway, but it's just nice to see them. Especially when we're up in the State House, and I love my Democrat friends. I have a lot of good ones that serve right next to me.
Yeah.
Up there, they're fantastic people. We just have differences of opinion.
Yep.
But it drives me mad, makes me want to pull out the sides of my hair when I see them all vote in unison all the time.
Every time.
And they never take swipes at each other.
Yeah.
That's all we do on the Republican side.
We're up there beating each other up all the time.
It's a weekly food fight, The Democrats just sit back and eat their popcorn,
Yeah, just sit and watch us.
But it's fantastic. I love seeing it, and I think it only strengthens the democracy when we're both taking shots at our own parties, because these parties are completely fallible.
Oh, yes.
They don't have all the right answers. They don't have good people from top to bottom at every level. There are issues, and when we stop calling out issues in favor of, that's my party, I got to be a good partisan, that's when the gig's up. That's when it sucks for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I remember back in 2010 when I first started this show, over 6 years ago now, the Republican Party called me up and said, "Hey, stop throwing us under the bus on your show." And I said, at least I got one viewer.
Right. That's my favorite pastime.
Yeah, well, because both parties are responsible for this mess.
Oh, absolutely. But it's just when I get in arguments with some of my Democrat friends, they just they won't admit it. They have culpability in all of this.
Yeah.
Stop telling me about George W. Bush. Am I going to say Bush didn't have some culpability in our deficit? Yeah. Absolutely he did. But, Barack doubled it since he took office. Let's have some shared blame.
Yeah.
Plus, prior to that gentleman, Mr. Khan, at the DNC, pulling out his pocket constitution, I don't think I've heard a Democrat mention the Constitution in the last 8 years. So I like his whole speech. I thought he gave it to Mr. Trump pretty good.
Yeah.
But because he was really speaking to me about, you can't go ahead and denigrate me based upon my religion. It says right here in my little hand constitution. Yeah. That spoke to me, but I was like, wow, that was the first time I've heard a Democrat mention the Constitution in 8 years.
Yes.
Go figure.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're using it for their advantage there.
Well, no, it was a good move by them.
Oh, it was.
Great political move by them.
Yes.
And Donald fell, right into it. But
now, who's this Jill? Jill Stein.
Jill Stein. She's the nominee for the Green Party. She's kind of the Ralph Nader of 2016.
Oh, really? So they're going to be jumping on her bandwagon.
Yeah, she's got a 2%. She's not as high as Gary Johnson's.
Really?
But yeah, I think she's going to take some votes away. It just if people really took a hard long look, this could really be the first time that a major third party candidate had an actual shot. But.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. There's a long time between now and November.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is some of them will forget and they'll vote regardless. Party. But I really think there's going to be some Democrats that I know of that they said I'm going to stay true right to the end. And
I don't have much of a problem with Republicans saying that they're not going to vote for Donald. Yes. My issue, I think, when it comes to Republicans is when they go and they join Team Hillary. Yes. Don't tell me that Donald's so awful and atrocious you can't vote for him. I sympathize with that. I have daily battles with him. I've come off from I'm going to float to the booth, with a smile on my face and go vote for him. the last week he's really done a number on me. I'm having a hard time. But don't say, oh, Hillary's the lesser of two evils. They're both terrible. Go vote for Gary Johnson or Jill Stein, but like, do not go and cast a vote for Hillary. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
You know, what are we doing?
No, it is true. Well, I just want to show one last video before the break.
Sure.
And it's the one with a policeman in it. And I just want to have your thoughts about this fence. Here it is.
That were not part of the pro-Bernie protest. They broke through the fence. The police are now forcing everyone back. The Bernie protesters were trying to stay peaceful, but a group of people in black came through and broke through the fences.
Really hard time. That's a very peaceful
the police have now re-restored
the police weren't ready.
the fence.
No riot gear.
Several people got through. I don't know how far
wear my
they
riot
got.
gear
The
to
police
a Bernie
have now set
protest
up
either.
a line outside the gates, and they have re-secured the fence. They have re-secured the fence.
Re-secured the fence.
But
Jeff, how did they get through? I mean, there's all those
for just a
police
second. It's
there.
unclear to me how many people actually got inside. The police are now pursuing people inside. I don't know if they're headed your way or what, but at this point we have secured the fence that was broken through. But it was an incredible scene there for a second. Hey, Lamb.
That's a weird thing to have around your convention for an open borders party.
Exactly.
Everybody's welcome, except when you get too close to us.
Yes. So why is it okay for them to have a fence, but we can't on our southern border?
Well, it's just like that article came out, I think 2 weeks ago, when Paul Ryan had that huge fence erected around his Wisconsin home. You know, and he's a big open borders guy too on the Republican side.
Oh, really?
It's just, you know,
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. He put a big fence.
And I think Trump gave him the old "what for" on that too. So you know.
No, that is true. You know, they say, you know, we're going to have open borders, but we're going to have police with guns or security with guns 24 hours around us.
Yeah.
And we're going to build fences around us. The rest of you, you're going to be disarmed, and good luck.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
No, it's interesting times we live in, my friend.
It is.
You know,
it
so.
is. Yeah.
But I mean, it's again. I mean, I know we're gonna go to the break, but like the one thing that I just struggle with every single time when I get in these debates is that, you know, we are a country that has 350 million people. A certain percentage of those people pay into the system.
Yep.
Now, when you're paying into the system and the government's supposed to provide us with services, right? If there's more people with a smaller percentage actually paying into the system, that means there's less resources and services for the government then to dole out and then become lower quality at the same time.
Absolutely.
It's not anti-immigrant. It's not racist. It's we are a nation of, it's like a large club that we're members of. And you got to fill out your application form and submit it. And if we have space, we'll let you in. It's what we've been doing for hundreds of years. I don't understand why all of a sudden, oh, well, you know, open border policy, anybody come in. I can't go down to Mexico and say, hey, Mr. Mexican government, Mrs. Mexican government official, I'm here.
Oh, they'd shoot you or put you in prison.
Where's my housing and Social Security and everything else that I need to exist? They tell me to get the heck out.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
After they billy clubbed you a few times.
I don't understand what they're up to, but logic is gone at the moment.
Yes.
You know, you used to be able to have conversations, rational conversations with people about this stuff, but now, so.
No, you can't. Well, we'll take a quick break, and I got, I think, one more video and just a couple pictures to show you, so we'll be right back. Welcome back to New Hampshire Politics with John Burt, and again, we're with BartFromuth, a representative from Bedford. And Bart, I see a lot of cranes down there just building away.
In Bedford?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's going to be a city almost that never sleeps.
my tax bill's not going down, oddly enough, though. But
really, I
thought
with all that business.
I have a couple buddies on the town council, so I like to rib them about it. But there's a lot of new development coming. I'm just saying, for what it's worth, that's supposed to keep my tax bill nice and low. It's staying the same pretty much, but it ain't.
That's better.
It's not heading south for any length of time. So
well, it's better than the 400 or 500 average home increase in Goffstown every year.
Yeah, no, you guys have it a little rougher than we do.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Our selectmen love to take our money. But like one selectman, Grossi, he's a former selectman now, said it's only one lunch out or one supper out for a family. Well, what happens if the family can't go out to supper? Oh, I don't know. Maybe there's some government program for them.
Oh, that's nice. That's thoughtful.
Yeah.
That's very caring.
But I did want to show you, let's finish up on the fence one. Here's the outside fence. I just wanted to throw up a picture right here in the back. That's quite a fence.
That is a fence. We could use that down at the border.
Yeah.
Maybe now they don't need it anymore.
And what just shocks me is that they're so open border, but they have this fence. And what's really funny is I want to show you the next. I call it a fence. Look at that inside. This is inside. I love that shot. There's the elitists, right there. They're all in their little fenced-in area, and there's the people.
How much do you think Hillary hates campaigning? I mean, how much do you think she actually despises being out there, amongst the great unwashed? I'm sure she views them.
Well, you remember the parade
with the rope.
Oh, we should have had a picture of that. Maybe we can find one because. With her, and the news media actually, or local news media, I don't think it ever went national that much. Fox and a few others beat her up, but here she is with people around her with a fence.
Well, I mean, when
these voters, they kind of stink. Get away from me.
But I mean, how hard must it be to campaign when you know the system's already rigged in your favor and you're going to win, and you're just going through the motions? It must make it absolutely intolerable for her. So
I never thought of it that way.
I mean, she's just pretending the entire time because she already knows the outcome.
Yes.
I mean, that must be really, really difficult to get out, every day and kiss the babies and shake the hands and pretend to care.
Yeah.
So that at least gives me some satisfaction knowing that every day on the campaign trail she's absolutely miserable.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yeah, that does. Yeah, but there was let me try to find it quick, is the last video I did want to show because my battery is getting down on me is, where is it? It's, the Bernie Blues. Wait till you see this, Bart, I'm telling you, it just, I have no words, so let me just show the video right now. Here it is.
Look at that
I love this guy. This guy's great.
I want to hug him.
Yeah. Tell him it'll be all right. I'm sorry your party's rigged.
Thank you all.
Come here, man. Bring it in.
There, poor Bernie walks away with his head down. And I do want to thank Vice News production for that. Bart, I tell you, you see them, poor people just bawling their eyes out. And, and I do have sympathy for them, even though I'm laughing. But it's got to be devastating to find out that it was rigged all along.
Well, I mean, that reminds me of how I looked after the Red Sox lost in 03 to the Yankees on that walk-off home run,
Yes.
but I had no idea that was coming, And so what I'm thinking is a lot of these people you see crying are probably kind of first-time participants in the process.
Yes.
And must have just had no idea, from the get-go, like Bernie wasn't going anywhere. It didn't matter how many votes or $27 donations he had come pouring in.
Yeah, and he had a lot of them.
it was Hillary's time, and that was all it was going to be. But I mean, hey, I hope we make some non-Hillary voters out of them now that their eyes have been opened and they're involved. It's great that they're voting.
Oh yes,
That's
that's
great
what
that
I
they're
say.
passionate about their guy.
Yeah.
I think if you look to Venezuela, though, you probably get a look around the corner in terms of what's coming with socialism.
Yes, yeah.
We'd be forced farming right now if we were down there.
Oh yes, yeah, trying to survive to get to the vegetables. But that poor gentleman at the end, he made world news.
Really?
Yeah, they interviewed him. I saw an interview with him in it, and they said, "You do realize you made world news?" And he goes, "That's what I heard. I just got caught up in the emotions, He says, Bernie losing, he should have said, with it being rigged, Bernie lost.
Right.
He isn't calling the full spade the spade. And he says, but the worst thing is that everybody thought it was a Peter Pan hat. And it isn't. It was a Robin Hood hat because Bernie Sanders is our Robin Hood. He's going to take from the rich. And it's like, no, he's going to take from all of us. And so he just wanted to make sure that it was a Robin Hood hat. And I felt sorry for the poor guy. Here he is making national and really world news, with him bawling his eyes out for everybody
Well,
to
what
see.
do you think he's going to do with the hat?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably going to be famous somewheres. Now, you brought up about that $400 million.
Yeah. So
you want to explain to the viewers, what?
So it would have been illegal for us to have paid the Iranians in U.S. currency. So we
for the ransom. Now,
or any amount of money because Congress didn't approve it.
But who? Yes, that's true. But now, who did we go grab? What was his name? He voluntarily walked off. And military people.
Oh, Bo Bergdahl?
Is that who it was?
I think so. I always get him.
And military men, I think, lost their lives looking for him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've ever tried him, have they?
I don't think so.
Boy, they should.
Yeah. No, I mean, that guy's a whole other can of worms.
So then down in Guantanamo Bay, we released 4 extremely dangerous bad guys.
That's funny.
Bad Muslims.
That's funny because here at home, we put people in prison for long periods of time as non-violent drug users, but yet we let terrorists walk free because we're worried that maybe we're incarcerating them too long, and then you find them every couple of weeks. It seems one of them's popping up abroad, involved in some sort of a plot or had just pulled off a weekly now terrorist attack. But yeah, this $400 million. The United States sent over in unmarked planes in foreign currency.
Yes.
And I forget what they cited, some obscure late payment that was owed them since the 90s or something.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
But it's absurd. I mean, this is a country. Again, I'm not gung ho about like the anti-Iran deal. I do feel like one of the ways to kind of bring other countries into the fold is to allow their economy to be free and unfettered, because American culture really dominates.
It does.
I mean, we dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan, and now fast forward 60 years later, and they're one of our greatest allies. It's because they have a lot of McDonald's and Wendy's over there.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's Western cultures invaded them, and they see our way of life, and I do think that there's hope for that. I just don't like the parameters of this deal with Iran. We're just bending over backwards. It's like we don't want to disrupt them. I mean, they're like 100 years behind us in terms of like culture and civilization, treatment of women, treatment of other religious groups, and it's just I agree with it. Let them open their economy up a little bit. Let's hit the brakes there and stop giving them all this money. Like that's $1.4 billion or something like that now.
Oh yeah, but we gave them just $400 million for the hostages.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's in addition to the $1 billion we just released to them.
Yes.
That we had frozen in accounts overseas. So.
Well, then, I remember one a news guy said, well, what does this mean? He goes, it's already happening. We've already, Obama has sent the message out, kidnap us and we'll pay you.
If I'm Kim Jong-un or whoever the latest little despot is over North Korea, I'm grabbing as many people as I can right now. Yeah. I mean, that's good money.
Now, why doesn't China just go up and swat them?
I think
they could.
They absolutely could. I think at the end of the day, They just like having this annoying cousin constantly constantly disrupting the United States of America.
Yeah.
I mean, just yesterday they launched another missile that putt-putted into the ocean. One of these days, these guys are going to get it right.
Yeah. I wonder if that is, he's the ugly step kid or something, and they just kind of ignore him and.
It's got to be. It's got to be because they don't have anything to worry. I think about from their cousin. It'd be like if Canada was really belligerent towards the east.
Yeah.
We'd probably all get a kick out of it, knowing they're not going to bother us. So let them, do their Canadian thing up there.
Yeah,
So
they're attacking.
But yeah, no. If I were ever any 2-cent dictator anywhere, I'd be running around just grabbing people.
Yes. Yeah. Because $400 million was paid with not one U.S. dollar, allegedly, but it was paid U.S. dollars because it was with other currency.
It was just like acting like we're stupid. Oh yeah, we didn't use any U.S. currency. It was all Swiss francs and euros and stuff. Who cares what form it's in?
Yeah, but it still came from us.
Right. Yeah.
The taxpayers.
Yeah. So
the people sitting on their seats listening to us.
Think about how many people's taxes.
Oh yeah.
Were on those unmarked planes to Iran.
Yeah.
And get angry, because that comes from your paycheck every 2 weeks.
Now, how did they find that out? Was it one of the WikiLeaks or
I
somebody
think
just
the Wall Street Journal broke the story. I don't know how they cracked it.
Yeah, Wall Street Journal did break it.
But
so it wasn't the New York Times or Washington Post. I mean, they didn't accidentally let it.
No, it wasn't them this time. I'm sure they'll get it next time.
Oh yeah.
But no, there's still thousands and thousands of those WikiLeaks emails. This is going to be some good. This is going to be some good news cycles coming up here because rarely do you get an insight into the inner workings of an entire political party.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think some of the emails coming out, and supposedly the NSA has Hillary Clinton's deleted emails.
Yes.
So that guy from the NSA said that last week, that the FBI can request those from the NSA at any point in time that they want.
But they aren't.
Well, we'll see, because if the NSA has them, I'm willing to bet you hackers that penetrated her account have those emails. So I think there's some good reading coming along.
Yeah.
And I think this election is going to have a lot of twists and turns.
Well, what I would love to see is Russia, Putin, release some top secret emails from us that he got from her server, from Hillary's server. Wouldn't that would be? But then the sad part is the sheep in the Democrat Party. Not all Democrats are sheep, and Republicans have the sheep too. But they would vote for Hillary. They're still going to march in there.
Yeah. But there's a middle swath that's growing, and like I said, after last week with this, and again, this guy, this gentleman, Mr. Khan.
Yeah.
But the Democrats, they used him as a pawn, but at the same time, he was a Muslim. His son lost his life saving other American lives.
Yep.
I'm from a party, and so are you, that really values our veterans and their service, and we're always talking about it. And just because this guy happens to be on a stage with a bunch of Democrats doesn't mean that I'm any less grateful for the sacrifice that his family made. And you know what? If he's angry and he wants to spout off at Donald Trump, he's earned the right because his son fought for his freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Why didn't Donald just sit back and say, thank you for your service, I disagree with your statements, but I understand your sacrifice and your anger. Yeah. Let it be. Starting to attack the guy's credibility and say he's anti-American. And then this baby situation, the crying baby, 2 days ago, Trump starts off saying, baby's crying, he's giving a speech. He says, I love crying babies, happy babies. You're doing a great job, Mom. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And like a minute later, it's like an angry Trump light bulb went off. He's like, you know what? Like, screw that. I'm just kidding. Get that crying baby out of here. You think I want a crying baby? If you're trying to do outreach to women voters, maybe it's a good idea
not to attack the baby.
It's almost like, I'm way up in the polls. Let me see what I can do as soon as possible to go and submarine myself. Because if I knew any better, if I was just jumping into this, I'd be like, is this guy working for Hillary or something? Because it just has me all angry and stuff.
Now, on his defense, and there really isn't on that part, one of his people should have went over to the mom and said, hey, because when I'm in a restaurant and a baby is fussy and crying, within a minute or two, when I see the parent gets up and just walks around and kind of leaves the area, to make I say, to me, that's a good mom.
I hear you what you're saying, but if we're both at a restaurant and there's a lady with a crying baby kicking my seat or something like that, or we're on an airplane, I get that. I'm going to get angry, but that's just John and Bart out as private citizens. If I'm campaigning to a group of people and this mom has an infant with her, is putting up with all this to get her infant out there, to hear Donald Trump speak and support him.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to keep your damn mouth shut.
Yeah,
I don't care what's going through his head.
Yeah. Or let somebody else go and say, hey, we're at a press conference,
I mean, Hillary had the worst week ever.
Yeah.
And Donald just was like, oh no, wait a minute, like, let me go one up you.
Yeah, he wants to be back in the news.
I just, but like I said, it's going to be lots of twists and turns. Right now, I'm not feeling too pro-Trump, but there's a long way until November. And like I said, I think there's going to be a lot more emails coming out.
Oh, yes.
And I think like hackers and stuff like that are going to have like a huge impact.
Now, have you heard when there's going to be the first debate?
It's during an NFL game, I heard, but they're trying to move it.
Oh.
Hillary's kind of duck and weave, It's like Bernie. She like to debate him on like Saturday nights when everyone's out. Having a good old time and not caring.
No, I want prime time.
I want prime time too, and so does the American people.
Yes.
This is going to be a title weight match too.
Oh, could you imagine Trump? If Hillary says anything about him womanizing, which I don't think he does.
This should be the first. Just send the moderator home. There's no purpose for moderators here. Okay, this is just two people yelling at each other.
But he's going to beat the tar out of her about Bill.
About everything.
Yeah.
About everything. But I mean, this is the other thing too I wanted to point out, because like all last week the Democrats, when Hillary was having her worst week ever, before Donald went into his diatribe, the big launch was, oh, Donald's treasonous and he's getting help from Putin and we can't believe this foreign country's trying to impact our elections. Folks, wake up. I mean, wasn't it just last year that Barack Obama and the United States government tried to fund Netanyahu's opponent down in the Israeli elections?
Yes.
Like, stop. Like, get off your soapbox, okay? Yeah. It happens all the time. The United States is certainly no stranger to sticking their nose in other people's politics. But, hey, I'm not going to go and yell at Vladimir Putin if he is the person responsible for shining a big fat light on a whole bunch of corruption.
Well, I think he has emails that their top secret, intelligent people grabbed.
Okay, I don't have a crystal ball, but sometimes, I get close to having one, and I'm feeling close right now.
Yes.
If Hillary had those emails on the personal server, like the FBI and everybody else is telling us, Vladimir Putin has those emails somewhere in the Kremlin right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're probably gonna see him at some point in time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So 30,000.
Because I think Putin, which I think we can get along with, which I'd prefer to get along with the guy, with Trump. Some people say that, he's going to be World War III. Trump's not going to be World War III.
If he's getting along with Putin, how's it going to be World War III?
Exactly. I want a president that can get along with the guy because he is the second most powerful man in the world.
I frankly don't want another Cold War. I don't really care. And what he does with Ukraine, he goes like that's not my business. I'm the United States. Like that's it's not messing. He's not taking over Mexico or Canada or something like that.
Yeah, we can sneak some weapons over to the Ukraine.
Well, but I mean, like,
because we do that. I mean, they do it to us.
No, I mean, but it's just like it's not something the average American voter really feels passionate about, is saving the Ukrainian people. Yeah. I support them in their fight for freedom, but it's not our job. I don't want my tax dollars going around and propping up certain governments and stuff like that. So let Europe go and fend off Putin, okay?
Well, Europe's bankrupt.
Yeah, they are.
And they have their own Muslim problems. Do you see that?
Oh, God.
Well, now the
truck. Think we don't have it nearly as bad over there. I have a couple friends over in Germany, and they're usually towards more of the liberal swing, but they've even had enough.
Well, I've seen some newspaper articles on Facebook, and if it's on Facebook, I think it has to be true. I'm guessing. But
they filter all the non-true stuff for you.
Yes. They're saying maybe we should have guns. This is what the citizens are saying, because they're all disarmed. And now they're starting to be slaughtered because the bad Muslims have guns in a gun-free country. Not a gun-free zone, but a country that's gun-free.
Well, I mean, again, and it's like you're not identifying an entire group of people as bad. You're just saying that the group has a problem from within with a sect of those people. But if we can't identify that and deal with the problem and just live in this like happy rainbow universe where we're constantly like, it's like if you were a terrorist and you're trying to shoot me, and I'm just trying to like come in and give you a hug, and maybe you'll miss me or something like that. That's like, I feel like the mentality, like if we just give them enough hugs, like they're just gonna, oh, you know what, like love will conquer all. And unfortunately, not in this situation.
Well, and that's what Obama says about what's that word Trump always uses against the bad Muslims.
The radical Islamic terrorists.
Yes. Obama doesn't want to say that. What will it serve?
Well, just stop telling me they're not connected. That's like me telling you that the Catholic Church had nothing to do with the Spanish Inquisition.
Yes.
Okay, like, stop. Let's deal in logic, and we can all have a nice national debate.
Exactly.
In logic. Don't go to the extreme. Don't say, oh, all Muslims are bad, or let's keep them all out. That's one extreme. But don't also say, oh, there's no problem over here. What are you talking about? Stop labeling. Like, let's have a nice conversation in the middle.
Yes.
Okay? I mean, that's all I'm looking for. I think a lot of other American voters are looking for that too. But
I'd like to see a little more on the Muslim part too, because there's 750 million good ones that we all like.
Absolutely.
But they say there's about 100 million really bad ones. Why can't they help bring them out? Because I don't know if they know them. That's the thing.
Here's the other problem too: is it's a very complex issue, obviously. But Obama says all these things about like let's embrace them, let's be all encompassing. But then why isn't he doing his part? Last week he authorized a drone strike that killed 200 civilians over in the Middle East.
Yes.
I have to imagine the family members of those civilians that were killed in a terrorist location that actually wasn't a terrorist location probably are now a little bit extremist in terms of their views towards the United States and might want to strap a bomb to their chest or hurt somebody.
So now it's 100 million bad ones plus.
But that's what's fueling it.
500.
You can't overthrow these governments, ruin these people's lives, and say, well, geez, why don't they like us?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if someone bombed the United States and took out the Burt home or the Fromuth home?
Yeah.
I'd get radicalized pretty damn quick too.
Yeah. Well, could you imagine if Bush did it? It'd be news 24/7.
Absolutely. But Barack gets like a couple hours on the news and it's gone. But that's part of the problem. But he's not addressing either end of this issue. And now we just have this total chaos. So in the meantime, let's bring in as many Syrian refugees as possible. We'll settle them everywhere and just hope for the best.
Well, somebody said New Hampshire's getting 485 of them.
Which is, again, small potatoes to what they're getting over in Europe.
Oh, it is.
I just don't understand this mentality of let's make this situation such a powder keg that's just going to blow up, but rather than deal with it logically.
And I'm sure 480 are good.
Right.
But it's the 5. We aren't vetting it. And that's all Trump wants to do is vet them better.
Well, I just have to imagine a country without a functioning government has a really hard time getting down proper identification and vetting of their citizens. That's my problem, is that I don't trust the Syrian government, which is split into 2 factions or 3 factions or however many, to have proper files on the people coming over here for me to feel comfortable. All right, this guy hasn't been on a watch list or something like that.
Yeah. Well, in the U.S., we're all on watch list.
You know what would have been great, though, is if we didn't go and attack Syria and bomb them and arm both sides of the conflict to create the refugee crisis in the first place.
Yes.
Because then they could have just stayed at home and then everyone's happy.
Well, somebody said also that, to bring a refugee in, I can't remember the number, but it was hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yep.
They said for every refugee, we could spend that same money and protect 15 or 18 in their own land.
I mean,
so do it there.
Well, now that we've got this mass exodus, something like that has I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
It's just people are being disingenuous in terms of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama's foreign policy. Because remember, Bush had nothing to do with Syria, so I don't want to hear any. On this one, I'm going to claim no Republican responsibility.
Absolutely.
They decided that Assad had to go. Yeah. They decided, we're going to arm the rebels. Oh wait, the rebels are ISIS. Now we have to arm Assad. Oh wait, now we don't like Assad again. Yeah. But that's why all these people are leaving, is because of our foreign policy.
Oh, yeah.
And they're saying, well, we screwed up. So American citizen, you got to deal with the aftermath.
But we could fix it right there.
Right. No, thank you.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I say. Well, thanks for coming on, Bart.
Yeah,
the hour goes by quick.
It does. It does. Lots to talk about. So.
And again, those poor people that were bawling at the end.
That one guy, Robin Hood.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's doing. I hope he's found a little happiness in his life. There is life after Bernie.
Yeah. Hopefully none of them are on expanded Medicaid that we sadly passed because it's going to cost the taxpayers more money. And
actually, Union Leader article today talks about healthcare costs going up next year. So.
Oh yeah, by what?
Shocked.
Almost 60%, up to 60%.
If I started reading the percentage, I'd start bawling, and you'd have to. I'd have to go back to my safe space.
Yes, we'll have to throw the safe space arrow up so that way if you stand up and you're running around, just look up to the big screen. It'll give you the arrow, the proper area.
Well, you're welcome, New Hampshire citizens. This is a byproduct of what we were able to do up at the State House.
Yes.
We voted against it, but the majority of the House and Senate thought it necessary too.
And the governor was happy to sign it.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, thank you again, Bart.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And until next week, I'll see you then. Bye now.